Hello, this is Michael Hexter. Welcome to my Politics 2100 video cast here on YouTube. So today's episode I'm calling American Military Narcissism and Grandiose Right-Wing Bravado as Political Strategy. So I think this is a important and descriptive concept that I'm trying to flesh out here. It's really about some people call it a habitus, or a habitual way of being in the world that is common, and it's a meme in the sense of something that infects it can infect other people and so forth and so on. It's something that it's a pattern. It has a narrative attached to it, and it's related to the concept of narcissism that I just introduced in my previous two videos. So one of the impulses to my bringing this up is that there was an interview earlier today that Sam Seder did on the Majority Report with Craig Whitlock of the Washington Post that talked about the Afghanistan papers that he helped bring to light. And those papers reveal what pretty much was obvious to me. I mean, they reveal the background, in other words, the actual conversations and views of certain political leaders and military leaders at the time. But the overall sense that someone like myself, who has opposed American imperialism and militarism for about 4 decades now, it's not a surprise to me that that what was revealed was a sense of basically political leaders, thinking they are invulnerable, thinking they are that the U.S. Is omnipotent, basically can do no wrong in the world based on its military arsenal, and a strategic forgetting of all the failures of American military might, especially in Vietnam and thereafter. And this was clear in this interview with Craig Whitlock. It was clear that all the negatives, all the vulnerabilities, the real vulnerabilities, were being erased in the minds of these leaders as they pursued hubristic or imperial militaristic adventures in the Middle East. And so, there's a long-standing habitus, you could say, or self-presentation of American political leaders and military leaders that is about a certain show of bravado, that they are sort of puffing up the chest and saying that they can that they are strong and powerful, and they can do not they, but the American military, could be them, could be they are representing this whole institution that is so mighty and so that they can afford to overlook realities that there is a reality that America possesses many very deadly weapons, but also there are many vulnerabilities associated with using those weapons, political vulnerabilities, and also obviously killing other people and then creating enemies by killing other people in the world. And so which makes the U.S. more vulnerable, and so and less safe. But this typical inflated, not all military leaders, not all members of the military have this attitude, but it has become a stance particularly associated with the right wing, or the right wing has tended to adopt this stance, especially attaching itself to the Second Amendment, not so much associated with the organized military, but associating oneself with possessing a deadly firearm, and therefore being able to project this sense of bravado. We have this in far-right members of Congress today who attempt to also bring weapons onto the floor of Congress, but they, with or without that weapon, or wherever they are, they're trying to emit this inflated, grandiose presentation of being invulnerable, and also that they are dominant, not only invulnerable but dominant, and they potentially always emitting threats to other people who might oppose them, that they will potentially shoot them if they have their gun. Or again, the way the U.S. military operates is that that they would make war on some foreign entity, or some really terrorist or maybe terrorist group. And so but anyway, this this habitus, I'm calling it, of being this also, there's even from early Roman dramas, there was a cartoonish figure called Gloriosus, who was the Braggart Soldier. So this goes back to even to the ancient world, this cultural figure to some degree, though we have it now attached to our enormous military-industrial complex. And so anyway, but we have this sense of bravado and this habitus is dictating, not only related to military or guns or having a gun, but also it's related to the anti-mask, anti-vax, and the whole the idea of being vulnerable to a pathogen. So that you see that habitus dictating policy, so dictating politics, and on the far right, and and also a denial of facts and denial of vulnerabilities as being so you have people who, and this can be called counterphobic. It's another word that's used in psychology to talk about being against one's fears, to not being, but acting as if one doesn't have a fear. Again, counterphobic and bravado very closely linked together. And so with bravado being a specific kind of counterphobic behavior, so or stance. And so I think this concept, so the idea of invulnerability of the self, and then showing oneself as being larger than life and bigger and boastfully so, and is something that has been transmitted from military adventures of the 20th century and now the 21st century to domestic political actors who also now have a sort of a quasi-war type mentality related to their political opponents, and they're literally threatening to kill them, and and dehumanizing their political opponents, or creating delusional fantasies about how awful they are in order to justify a eliminationist stance related to their political opponents. And so, like a soldier might in a brutal war, decide, say, they have to go defeat the enemy, and therefore we want to eliminate them, so to speak, or the soldiers of opposing army or navy or whatever. So, but anyway, the this stance, or it comes back to this what I talked about in the last couple of videos. I call it white narcissism, but here I'm talking about a narcissism that is not necessarily attached directly to people's ideas about their skin color and so forth and so on, but it's not unrelated to it either. It's part of a nexus of narratives and themes and feelings, and I'm calling the word using the word habitus, habitual way of acting and thinking and feeling that feels like home, feels like comfortable to a certain groups of people who want to avoid thinking about their vulnerabilities, who want to feel bigger than life, or bigger than who they are, and also want to subjugate other people, bully other people, potentially kill other people who they think are in their way, or feel like they're in their way, or that they have these plans of being of taking over, in some sense, some of the more brutal and psychopathic people on that in that camp, and so, but anyway, that there's a spectrum of sort of quote unquote acceptable, often made acceptable by, among other things, Hollywood or by movies, action movies, and so forth and so on, which transmit images of heroes and whatever who act in this with this bravado or these superpowers that they have, or weapons, or fantastically sophisticated current technologically feasible weapons. But anyway, they act in a way that suggests that they are invulnerable and that they are only killing machines of the bad guys, and so forth and so on, or the opponents, whoever they are. It depends if they're a hero or an anti-hero or something like that. So anyway, that is endemic to our culture, and it's something that stance, and it's something that would require us to, I think, we need to overcome it, and through understanding what it is, understanding how it affects politics, and how I think this habitus dictates the denial of COVID, and in the sense of and the anti-mask campaign, and so forth and so on, the anti-vax campaign, and it's something that it's when you think about it, it's even though it feels very homey to be thinking these heroic narratives that we see on TV or in movies. On the other hand, the outcome in politics and reality is psychotic, and murderous. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to put some of these ideas out there. I will develop them further in future videos. If you have some thoughts about the content of this video, please comment below. And also, if you like the video, please like it. If you like the content generally of some of these other videos, please subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you in the next video. See if this clicker works here.